Dresses hanging in the wind tonight, silent witnesses to stories untold. Sisters, mothers, daughters out of sight, their voices echo, brave and bold. Every face upon the missing wall has a name, a dream, a beating heart. We won't let their memory fall. Each one precious from the start. They matter, every single soul. They matter, we won't let go. Stand up, speak out, don't turn away. Search for justice every day. They matter, and we'll never stop the fight. They matter, every single soul. They matter, we won't let go. Stand up, speak out, don't turn away. Search for justice every day. They matter, and we'll never stop the fight. Indigenous people, strong and free, women, men, and children too. Your lives have meaning, you belong. We hear your voices call. All lives matter in this sacred space. Every soul within our human race. True seekers, doubters, unite. We are family, we'll make this right. We will stand up and join the fight. Fight on! They matter, every single soul. They matter, we won't let go. Stand together, search as one, until every case is done. They matter, and love will light the way. Red dresses dancing in the light, reminding us to never give up the fight. We all matter, we all matter, we all matter. One human family, standing together. Red dresses dancing in the light, reminding us to never give up the fight. We all matter, we all matter, we all matter. One human family, standing together.
So I will say greetings to the truth seekers and justice warriors. I'm your storyteller in the wilderness of injustice. My ride or die Doc is riding shotgun as we navigate the darkness where the predators hunt and the system fails.
Hello, everybody.
We're ready to shine a light on the forgotten stories society would rather leave buried. So buckle up. The path grows bumpy as we lead you through another section of the nightmare that they call the justice system. And Vala's here. Yay. She had a hard day, so we're so happy she's here. Thank you for being here, Vala. I know it was a tough one for you, dear. But today we're going to cover a case that's haunted me since the first time I learned about it. And it's the mysterious death of Native American actress Misty Upham. And this is a story that's going to highlight some of the most troubling issues in our justice system, particularly how missing and murdered Indigenous women cases are handled, or in many instances, completely mishandled. Well, Thala, I know you're having a tough time. Let me bring you into the story. Hey, Nurse Joy's here. Hey, Nurse Joy, glad you could join us. Oh, thank you, Fala. We love you too, sweetie. And I know you had to face some terrible things going on. And Irish Amy, our lovely sister from the Emerald Coast, she has a moo cat too. Everybody should have a moo. And let's dive in. Irish Amy has her moo, and she's naughty. Armu's actually taking a nap, so we're going to jump right in here. And I want to acknowledge that this case is going to involve some real trauma and some systematic racism and the tragic loss of a vibrant young woman who had so much more to give. Misty's story really deserves to be told with the respect and attention it should have received from the very beginning. And Misty Ann Upham was born on July 6 of 1982 in Kalispell, Montana, to parents Charles and Mona Upham. She was a member of the Blackfeet Nation, and her Blackfeet name was Sweetgrass Woman. From the very beginning, Misty faced challenges that were going to shape her entire life. Simi Sharp, thank you for coming and joining us, dear. We really appreciate it. Her parents, like many Native Americans of their generation, were forced to attend those boarding schools. Yeah, those institutions designed to kill the Indian and save the man by stripping away their indigenous culture, their language, and their identity. But despite this generational trauma, you guys, Charles was determined he was going to give his children better opportunities. So when Misty was just 12 years old, she made a declaration that would prove prolific. She's standing in front of the Seattle acting class. She announced, "My name is Misty Upham, and someday you will know that name is the best living Native American actress." Because she had talked her father into taking her to some classes. And you know what? She was absolutely right. By the time of her death, Misty Upham had indeed become one of the most famous Native American actresses of her generation in just short time of 8 years, you guys. Hey, Jules Guitar, thank you for joining us, dear. Misty's path to Hollywood, it wasn't going to be easy. And her family would move quite frequently between the reservation life and city life. And they struggled financially, but Misty never gave up on her dream. She trained with the Red Eagle Soaring Theater Group, a nonprofit specifically for Native youth, where she wrote, acted, and directed. So she was really a talented young lady. Her big break came in 2002 with the film Skins. And then she followed that up with a role in Frozen River in 2008, where she actually earned an Independent Spirit Award nomination. And think about that. Only her second film. That's amazing. She appeared in Quentin Tarantino's Django. I'm not sure. Unchained. Django. Unchained.
Django Unchained.
Unchained. And Tarantino was so impressed with her that he wrote a role specifically for her in The Hateful Eight. Of course, sadly, you're going to find out she didn't get to be in the movie. But it was her role as Joanna in August Osage County, alongside with Meryl Streep and Julia Roberts, that put her on the map. Meryl Streep later said she felt so lucky to be able to work with her and her unique blend of authenticity, passion, and compassion. And this wasn't just some Hollywood feel-good story, you guys. Misty was breaking barriers. She was kicking doors in for the Indigenous actors everywhere. She had a promising future. Major directors wanted to work with her. A-list actors were praising her talent. I mean, she was in there with Meryl Streep and Julia Roberts, you guys. She is using her platform to advocate for Native representation in film because she said, we need comedies. We need, mysteries, thrillers, horror movies. We need it all too. He is a good director, and he saw talent and he recognized her. But behind Misty's rising career was a woman that was struggling. And if you look at that picture below there with her at that award show, it was her premiere of one of her movies, standing behind her is Benito Torres. Yeah, she was in a movie with him. So she was hanging out with some bigwigs. But she struggled with a profound trauma. She had been SA'd as a child. And then at 13, on the reservation, she got gang SA'd. So these experiences led her to PTSD, depression, anxiety, and they later said she had bipolar disorder. And I mean, to have those two experiences, it shows you how strong she was. This was a woman that had overcome so much. And something that didn't get nearly the attention it deserved during the Me Too movement. In 2013, at the Golden Globe Awards, Misty was allegedly SA'd by one of the Weinstein Company executives in the men's restroom while a group of men cheered him on. Yeah, you heard me. Hey, William, we're so glad you're here, darling. I know you haven't been feeling well, but yeah. And that's a picture of her that night at the Golden Globes. She kept the torn green dress with the DNA evidence, but she was terrified to come forward, knowing Harvey Weinstein's power in Hollywood, because she had an encounter with him himself when she was riding with Tarantino in a vehicle, and Weinstein was in the car, and there was another person that said something that Weinstein didn't like. And in the middle of the cold of night, he put that person out of the car, and she was worried, and he told her to mind her own business. So when her father, Charles, tried to tell her that she needed to, take this to the police, she says, how could anyone expect a sincere investigation when the Weinstein Company commander-in-chief is also a perpetrator? So it was known that he was, and she knew nobody was going to take her seriously. So this poor woman, now we've seen how many times that she has been assaulted. And here's where everything, though, starts to fall apart for Misty. In 2014, her father, Charles, here suffered a stroke. And Misty, being the devoted daughter she was, immediately picked up her life from LA to go to Auburn, Washington to care for him. And this decision, because she loved her father and her family and had loyalty, this proved to be a fateful decision for her. Because moving to Auburn meant leaving behind her established medical care in California. And she was struggling to get her psychiatric medications refilled through the Indian Health Service. The appointment she desperately needed wasn't until late November of 2014, which would turn out to be more than a month after she's found deceased. But let me tell you how it all happened. Because Misty also had a miscarriage around this time. So we can only imagine, here's this woman dealing with her father's stroke, trying to navigate this new healthcare system for her own mental health needs, grieving the loss of a child, and watching her promising career potentially slip away because she's focusing on her family obligations. And she doesn't have her meds. So she did some self-medicating, which happens with alcohol, but her mental health was deteriorating rapidly. Between July of 2013 and October of 2014, the Auburn Police came to the family's calls for help 5 different times, involuntarily committing her 4 times. But here's something that just makes my blood boil, you guys. During these mental health crises, the responses, the Auburn police officers would mock and tease Misty while transporting her for this commitment. They would sarcastically taunt her about claiming to be a famous actress, ridiculing her career achievements and making cruel jokes at her expense. And she would sit in the car as they went to get her bag with her medications. They would tap on the window, making faces at her. Now, imagine her father having to watch this. Imagine being in a severe mental health crisis. You're already traumatized. You're vulnerable. These people who are supposed to be coming to help you are laughing at your success, mocking your identity, and all the time while you're sitting in the back of a police car and you're crying. Now, her father, Charles, knew that at that time he couldn't speak up because they were the authorities. He knew that it would just get worse. And this was, we know this isn't professional conduct. This was cruelty. They were literally making fun of a woman who had achieved fame. Here are just a few pictures of the people she was with. A picture with Jane Fonda, Juliette Lewis, who was also in the movie. There's a picture of some of the other actors in the movie with her of Osage County. A picture of her and Meryl Streep. Another picture of some other actors with her at another festival. So these are A-list actors, and she had broken a barrier in Hollywood. And it's exactly why Misty was terrified of the police now, though. So when someone has mocked and humiliated you by law enforcement during your most vulnerable moments, and you're taunted about the very thing you've worked your life for, this was her life, she's going to try and hide when she sees officers coming. Now, before we get deeper into what happened to her, I need to tell you something that puts everything in perspective. The Auburn Police Department, the same department who failed Misty so catastrophically, has a documented pattern of excessive force and misconduct. No surprise. I mean, come on. Just this year, former Auburn police officer Jeff Nelson was sentenced to 200 months in prison for murdering Jesse Sari in 2019. But here's the kicker. That wasn't the first person he had murdered. There were 3 other people during his time as an officer. 3. He had a rap sheet of misconduct longer than most criminals. Internal records show Nelson was investigated for behavioral issues, violent behavior, drug usage on duty, sexual harassment, and violations of safety policies. In one instance, he asked his partner, "Do you want to go F them up? I want to F them up." And when dealing with the youth of color, that's what he was saying about them. The judge at his sentencing said his fellow officers' claims about his good character were contradicted by clear evidence that Nelson lacked integrity and the Auburn department would stand up for anyone. This wasn't just one bad apple, you guys. This was systematic. This is the same department that would treat Misty and her family with such callous indifference. There was a culture of violence and misconduct that went unchecked for years. Now, I have no way of knowing if this officer was ever one of the ones that was involved in her case. I was not privy to the police reports, but he was around there that time. And if he was acting like that, you can only imagine how some of the others were acting. Now, October 5th of 2014, this is the day that everything blew up. Misty was having another mental health crisis. Her father, Charles, called 911, telling them she was suicidal to ensure that they would come quickly. Now, he said that she wasn't suicidal, but he knew if he didn't say something, they would just not show up in time. And he was worried about her. But she got agitated when she found out, and she goes, "I'm leaving, and you don't have to worry about me anymore." So she left her sister's apartment at 1:30 p.m. She had on a tank top, a sweater, some sweatpants, and some tennis shoes. Now, here's something crucial. She didn't take her jacket. She didn't take a hat or sunglasses. Okay. And these were items she would have taken if she was planning on being gone for any length of time, but she didn't take them. So she just grabbed her purse and went out the door. Well, Charles was going to follow her, but before he could, some police officers showed up and they stopped him and they insisted on searching the apartment. And at that time, they were actually living in her sister's apartment, which was small. And It took 10 minutes, okay? It wasn't that big of an apartment, and he kept trying to tell them that she had taken off. So, I mean, if they would have just turned around and gone looking for her, we wouldn't be talking. But here's where the case gets absolutely infuriating. He was told he had to wait 24 hours to file a missing persons report, which we know isn't true. And that wasn't Auburn Police Department policy. No. When he did file the report on the 6th of October, the police refused to elevate her status to endangered, which would have triggered a higher alert level. Now, remember, she's been diagnosed with bipolar. She's had depressions. She's had a miscarriage. They've taken her in 4 times. So they knew, but, they just ignored it. Now, despite repeated pleas from the family, Auburn PD never organized an official search party, not once. They claim they couldn't use search dogs because their canines were trained to catch bad guys, not missing persons, and that's what Mr. Commander Mike Herman actually said. Misty could take care of herself, despite having involuntarily committed her multiple times for being unable to do that. Can you believe that, Doc?
So they really didn't know at all what the situation is. The only thing they knew was that they didn't want to do anything.
Right. Well, they knew that her father had called to say she was suicidal.
Well, yeah.
Even though she wasn't. So if you get a call that somebody is suicidal, even if it's not true, they should have been on that immediately.
Well, it just shows you that there were big issues in that department.
Yes, because they do not care about any minority at all. You're just a problem. And of course, the commander here is now retired. But you know what? Here, we like to call him out because he was wrong. He was so wrong. Now, think about this for a moment. Here's a woman they knew with these mental health issues. They had personally responded themselves 5 times, committed her 4 times. And yet when she goes missing during a mental health crisis, suddenly she can care for herself. Then why did you take her 4 times? Meanwhile, the police records show that the officers started spending more time responding to media inquiries than they did searching for Misty. Because you know what? They found out she was famous, and the media wanted to know what was happening. Juliette Lewis, the actress who was a friend of Misty's, was begging them to do something. So there were calls for this department to do something. They had mud on their face. Now, after 6 days of the police inaction, Charles asked his cousin, Robert Upham, to organize a community search party. Members of the Muckleshoot tribe and other surrounding tribes joined the effort. They did what the police couldn't be bothered to do. On October 16th, 11 days after Missy disappeared, Robert Kennedy and Jeff Bearhan were searching a wooded area near Misty's sister's apartment. Kennedy climbed down a steep ravine and found a purple purse. Inside was one of Misty's prescription bottles. Bearhan continued down the cliff and found what he initially thought was a shoe. Using a rope and a tree trunk, he rappelled down and discovered Misty's decomposing body at the bottom of a 150-foot ravine, 2 blocks from her apartment she had been staying in. 2 blocks. She was 2 blocks away the entire time while those police did nothing. For 11
Shouldn't
days.
They be really happy with themselves?
Oh, yeah. For 11 days, she was laying in a ravine 2 blocks away. I wonder, do you think search dogs could have helped?
Oh no, because they're trained to look for bad guys and drugs and stuff.
I mean, come on. So when the police finally arrived at the scene, Then they treated the searchers, the family, and the members of the tribes like they were nobody. The people who actually found Misty got treated like criminals rather than heroes that they were. They demanded photos of the bottom of Kennedy's feet without explanation and told Robert to get away from my crime scene, even though it was the family and the community who had found her, when the police couldn't be bothered to even look. Now, the King County medical examiner ruled Misty's cause of death as blunt force trauma to the head and the torso, consistent with a fall. But the manner of death, undetermined. He couldn't say it was an accident. He couldn't say it was suicide. He couldn't say it was foul play. Now, particularly troubling, there is some toxicology reports that showed Misty's blood alcohol level was 0.33%. Now, that level is so high, it would have probably, she wouldn't have been able to walk, could have been unconscious. And when her family said she left, she didn't appear intoxicated when she left the apartment at 1:30 p.m. And the coroner did say that she died the same day she went missing. Now, there was a vodka bottle reportedly found near Misty when it was discovered in October of 2014. But her father really considered the release of that information to be a cheap shot. And I agree with him, because all that is to suggest her death was solely due to being intoxicated. I want to know, did they even bother doing fingerprints for this bottle? Did they check it? Because this was a ravine. Someone could have just tossed it over, at any time. It didn't have to have anything to do with Misty. Hey, the Squeege of Justice. Thanks for popping in, darling. Now, here's something crucial that's going to make you question things about that blood alcohol reading entirely. We've talked about it a little bit before. Misty's body, and I don't want to appear crass, but had been decomposing in that ravine for 11 days before she was found, okay? What most people don't know, and what should have been considered in this case, dead bodies can literally brew their own alcohol through a process called postmortem fermentation. So when a body isn't kept cool after death, bacteria, yeast, and fungi in the blood start converting glucose into alcohol. And the kicker, postmortem blood can have glucose concentrations 7 to 10 times higher than living blood. And that creates a perfect brewing conditions. So forensic experts have documented false blood alcohol readings as high as 0.2%. And that's just from fermentation. So Misty's reading of 0.33% after 11 days of decomposition in Washington weather, it could totally be explained by bacterial fermentation, not alcohol consumption. That means the toxicology report that might suggest she was severely intoxicated when she fell could be meaningless. We don't know. Yet another piece of evidence that should have been properly investigated. But guess what? Nope, they couldn't be bothered. Now, shortly after this autopsy result, the family friend got a call. And they said someone claiming to know what really happened to Misty. The caller alleged that Misty had gone to a house party up the street, got into an argument, and was beaten to death by 2 men. Now, when her father, Charles, asked the medical examiner if there was evidence of a beating, they said no. But the caller's story could explain if she did have alcohol in her system, if she had stopped by a party. But it could also explain her death. We don't know, because I don't trust anybody in this story except for her family. And they said she did not appear to be drunk when she left the house. She was upset, but she wasn't drunk. Charles submitted this information to the police, and of course we know they said they pass it along, but surprise. We don't know if anything ever came out of it. Shocking, right?
Hmm.
But Charles maintained her death, he felt, was accidental. Because the police were trying to push this suicide thing. And he says, we believe that Misty's death was either accidental. She did not commit suicide. He said, we believe she ran into the wooded area behind the apartment to hide from the police. Because remember how quickly the police got there. The area in question has a hidden drop-off, and evidence suggests that she could have slipped and fell off the steep embankment when she tried to get out of the view of the road. Sadly, I wouldn't even put it past one of those lovely police officers that, are so ugly that they could have chased her. I don't know. So the police department's response, the Auburn Police Department, issued a detailed statement addressing the family's criticisms and providing their account of events. They reveal their history with Misty since July of 2013. And the Auburn Police Department, of course, they said we had these 5 separate instances. 4 of those, she was contacted by officers, and she did not object to being transported by further ambulance for a further evaluation. Don't forget that they teased her in the cruel manner when they took her in. On the 5th incident, Misty had already left the residence. The officers were unable to locate her. Each contact was handled professionally and with compassion, with the goal of getting Miss Upton the attention and care she needed. But Charles remembers a time when she came back from having been taken by the police, and she had a swollen jaw, a black eye, scratches, and bruises on her shoulder following this great police contact. But the department clarified that any interference that there was at the hands of the police was not correct. He said that he had a written report that she had sustained a sprained ankle and black eye when she jumped out a 2-story window. Of course, Misty never remembered that happening. So take that for what it was written on.
Wait a minute. When she was being transported?
When they had taken her to be transported for
Okay.
They said that she had jumped out a 2-story window.
Prior to being transported. Okay.
No, they said that they implied that as they had her, that she jumped out this window.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't believe a word they said either.
Well, no.
Semi-sharp. No, I think they're lying through their teeth because they realized how well-known Misty was after her death, and they're trying to get the mud off their face, but it's like they shoved it in a mud pie, or should be shoved in a mud pie. So they also tried to defend their search efforts, stating, we didn't ignore her disappearance in the most recent episode. They detailed that once her information was entered into a missing persons database, which we know was a day late because they told her father they couldn't take it that day, an active search and investigation commenced, including areas searched, except for 2 blocks from her home. Oops. Interviews with family and friends and the coordination with the Seattle Police Department, where they told her father to wait 24 hours, remember, to report her missing. They said they did attempt to locate her through her cell phone signals, but found her service had been disconnected prior to her disappearance. So the department concluded by stating they will continue to search for answers to unravel the mystery behind her passing and intend to find the information that will help bring closure to the people who loved and cared for her. Fat chance of that. They were just trying to be nice because the media was paying attention to them.
And obviously nothing happened after that.
Nothing.
Anyway.
No, because this happened in 2014. We've heard no more. Misty's case isn't just about this one woman's tragic death. It's emblematic of the crisis that's been largely ignored by mainstream America. And you know me and my statistics, they're absolutely staggering and have only gotten worse since Misty's death. According to the most recent data from the Bureau of Indian Affairs and National Institute of Justice, more than 4 in 5 American Indian and Alaskan Native women, 84.3%, have experienced violence in their lifetime. Indigenous women are murdered at a rate 10 times higher than any other ethnicity. They're 2.5 times more likely to be SA'd than any other women. And we're going to keep repeating these stats as long as we see the issues our sisters face. When they go missing, the response Misty's family received is tragically typical. As Lauren Chief Elk, co-founder of the Missing Sisters Crowd Map, explains, the immediate response is disbelieving. Native girls are off partying. They went to visit friends. They'll be right back. No, they won't. They're not out partying. Something has happened. Get off your lazy bums and earn your paycheck. So what do I think happened to Misty Upham? Honestly, you guys, I don't know for certain. None of us do. And that's the tragedy. The case was so poorly investigated, we're never going to know the truth. The official theory is that she fell accidentally while trying to hide from the police, given her previous traumatic interactions with the Auburn PD. Her blood alcohol level suggests she was severely intoxicated, which I question due to understanding what happens when a body decomposes. And, so yes, if she had been drinking, it could explain the fall. But if she wasn't, what happened? Was she just in fear and slipped? We don't know. The anonymous caller's story, hey, it is compelling. I mean, they might say that the coroner might say that there was no evidence of her being beaten, but come on, she fell down a 150-foot ravine. How can you tell the difference? If Misty did go to a party, we don't know. The problem is we're never going to know. The investigation was essentially non-existent. Could someone who have stumbled on her pushed her? Could someone have come, she met in the woods? We don't know. What we do know is that a young woman with so much to offer the world died alone at the bottom of a ravine, and the system failed her at every single turn. For the girl that they wanted to make fun of that was famous, Misty was honored at the Oscars of 2015. Meryl Streep, who appeared in a movie with her, remembered her fondly. I bet not one of those police officers or commanders in Auburn, Washington ever had Meryl Streep remember them, except for lazy jerks that they were and their questionable conduct. Misty's case has largely been forgotten by mainstream media. Her father is a tireless advocate for the missing and murdered Indigenous women, fighting to ensure that other families aren't going to have to face the same indifference that his family has encountered. Actress Juliette Lewis, she was Misty's really close friend and co-star. And she said something that stuck with me. She said, Misty exemplified the true power, the resilience and artistry of the human spirit. She lived through unspeakable violence, yet she was aware of her own power. Now, her father, Charles, has said something that also haunts me. He said, I really feel that had it been another situation, I mean, how would they have approached if Commander Steve Stalker's daughter, one of the policemen that kept passing off this case, how many resources would they have attached to that endeavor if it had been his daughter?
Well, that would have been a completely different situation.
Yes. And there's Steve Stalker. And he also has now retired. And I'd like to take the grin off his face too, because you screwed up. You guys were terrible in how you treated people. And this question cuts to the heart of everything. Would they have told the police commander's daughter to wait 24 hours because his daughter was missing? Would they have refused to use search dogs because, hey, they only go after the bad guys? Would they have suggested she was probably off partying somewhere? We all know the answer to that. And it's no. But they didn't give Misty that chance. But here's what I want you to remember about Misty Upham was more than just a victim. She was a talented actress. She broke barriers. She was a woman who used her platform to advocate for others and someone who dreamed of bringing arts programs to Native children on reservations. She had survived childhood SA, also gang SA, and ongoing trauma. Yet she still managed to build a promising career in one of the most difficult industries in the world. She was working with A-list actors, earning critical acclaim. She had Quentin Tarantino writing a part for her in a movie. And she was opening the doors for other Indigenous performers. And her father has said her legacy is huge for Native young people interested in being in film. It's a door that she opened. It seems possible to them. Misty did it. We can do it. Juliette Lewis put this on her Instagram for her friend because she couldn't make the service. She was away on a movie. She said, Misty's artistry was the gift she left all of us. See, August Osage County, or Frozen River, if you'd like to know her this way. She was an incredible actor. This is where her power and her beauty shone through in its purest form. A stillness and a focus that was all-knowing, all-persuasive. Her presence was majestic, like a wide-open landscape connected to the heavens. Expansive and formidable, there was a reason she was the Native American actress to go to in all of her too short career of 8 years. Juliette said she would have loved all the attention, interest, and love that she is being shown in her passing by all who had the privilege of working with her, knowing her, or being an admirer of her work. She's a strong soul. I have no doubt she'll find her way. I love you, Misty, and I will not live in my regrets. I will honor your path. I will accept what I cannot control and surrender it to the universe. Thank you for being the healing hand and the steady guide you have been for many. And God bless you for all you had to endure to show us how brightly you could shine. JL. I put a link, I gave it to Doc, he'll put it in the description, where she spoke more. She shared a poem and music that she would share to honor Misty. But that's how we honor Misty, by remembering her life, her dreams, her achievements, while demanding justice for her and the thousands of other Indigenous women who have been ignored. They've been dismissed or even forgotten. It's a call to action. If this case has affected you like it's affected me, there are ways to help. Support the organizations working on missing and murdered Indigenous women's cases, and boys and girls and men. It's not just the women. Learn about the ongoing crisis. When you hear about it, don't turn away. Listen to those statistics. What can we do to help change it? Share stories like Misty's. Get people to watch the videos. And most importantly, listen to Indigenous voices calling for justice. When you see them on TikTok, on Instagram, listen. Don't turn away. Don't swipe. Because until we address our systematic issues that have led to Misty's death, even mental health, there will be more families searching ravines for their missing daughters, while police departments claim they can't help because their dogs only go after the bad guys. Then the dog should have bit him in the bum, is all I can say.
Losers.
Yeah. Another way to honor her, check out her film catalog. It's not huge, but for 8 years, she did a lot. So check out her movies. Admire her work. Tonight, here are our missing people. And there's always so many, so it's hard to narrow it down. If ever you have someone that you want to see on one of our lists, because we try to show them every episode. We have Danny Grady, missing since July 21st. She's 14 years old, you guys. She's got brown eyes, black hair, 5'5", and 110 pounds. She was last seen wearing a black zip-up jacket and purple shorts. She was from Omaha, Nebraska. The agency, 402-444-5818, or call the Nebraska Missing Persons Clearinghouse at 1-877-441-LOST, 5678. Our next is Colby Wood White Lightning, Rapid City, South Dakota, missing since July 16th. Age 16. He's got black hair, eyes are brown. He's 5'11" and 160 pounds. He was last seen wearing a gray Nike sweater and sweatpants, white shoes, and he was carrying a black and white Nike backpack. Please contact the Rapid City Police Department at 605-394-4131. Then we have Kylie Tuesday. She's been missing since July 14th at 7 o'clock in the evening from Moncton, New Brunswick, Canada. She's 14 years old. She's brown eyes, brown hair. She's 5'4" and 171 pounds. She was seen wearing gray sweatpants, a gray sweater, black and red shoes, and carrying a red backpack. She has a tattoo of a line near her left eye. It's faded. Last seen near the residence of 500 block of Acadia Avenue in DePepe, New Brunswick. If you have any information, please contact Kodiak Regional RCMP at 506-857-2400, or with any of these, call your local 911 if you're not in the state or country. Our last one is Luta Win Elena Arapaho. She's 17. She's from Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Her missing, for the missing children and exploited children, the NCIC number is M as in Michael, 6785-68538. Doc will put all this information so you have it. July 22nd, Sioux Falls, South Dakota. She's 17, 5'5", 170 pounds, brown hair, brown eyes. She was seen wearing gray sweatpants and gray Nike sweatshirt. Call the Sioux Falls 605-367-7000, or like I said, 911. Oh, I'm sorry, I have one more. V. Andrew Lone Bear Brown, Ethia, Wyoming. He's been missing since actually February 8th. His name is listed as V. Andrew Lone Bear Brown. He's 22. He goes by Drew Brown. His eyes are brown. His hair is black. He's 6 foot and 190 pounds. He had black pants, black sweatshirt, white Nikes. Contact the Wind River Agency at 307-332-3112 or DCI at 307-777-7181. There's also the 833-560-2065 or text 847-411. Keyword BIAMMU. Reference either Special Agent Jolene Makeshine or the BIA number of B as in boy 025152268. I agree with you, OnlyFan. They don't get a hall pass. So that's one thing to remember, is a lot of times we do show a lot of the girls and women because we see more of their posters out there. But as I was reminded by Lissa Yellow Bird Chase, she said that boys are also taken for terrible purposes. So don't always think that it's only just the girls. Keep your eyes open when you're out and about, you guys. We know Sturgis is coming up, and that really concerns us all because there are a lot of women and children and young men that get taken for trafficking at this time. Any big event, any big football game, any big basketball games, there are people there that are trafficking other people. If you go to an airport, keep your eyes open. A lot of times you would think, well, wouldn't these guys just run away? No, because they've threatened them. They've threatened their families. They may have already SA'd them to where there is so much shame. You know, I'm not asking people to step in and cause you harm either, but contact the authorities because that's what needs to happen. So we got to keep our eyes open. Don't be always on that cell phone when you're out and about. Look up, see what's happening. If you see something, you say something. Let's not forget Misty Upham. She was an incredible person. She deserved to have her story told, her memory honored. Remember, every killer relies on your silence. Don't be why we share another story on this channel. If you know something, speak up, because that wasn't a mannequin. It never is. I appreciate you all coming tonight. And like I said, anytime if there's a story you want us to tell, you can reach us through email. You can reach us through our Facebook group, our Discord server. There's many ways to get a hold of us. We'll be glad to tell the stories. And that's why I'm Z the Storyteller with my Ride or Die doc, because we want to make sure that history doesn't get overlooked this time. We want the stories out there. We want to shine the light brightly. We're not going to let any of these deviants get away with nobody watching, because we're all watching. This was a beautiful woman. Let's remember her. I appreciate you all. So until next time, stay informed and compassionate and seek justice. I love you all. Ciao.
Hey, I just wanted to add, I don't think anybody heard me because I had my mic off when I taught at the beginning, when I mentioned the video, the song. So I'm going to go ahead and play that as the outro, and so everybody would be able to hear it now.
Okay.
Okay.
Dresses hanging in the wind tonight, silent witnesses to stories untold. Sisters, mothers, daughters out of sight, their voices echo, brave and bold. Every face upon the missing wall has a name, a dream, a beating heart. We won't let their memory fall. Each one precious from the start. They matter, every single soul. They matter, we won't let go. Stand up, speak out, don't turn away. Search for justice every day. They matter, and we'll never stop the fight. They matter, every single soul. They matter, we won't let go. Stand up, speak out, don't turn away. Search for justice every day. They matter, and we'll never stop the fight. Indigenous people, strong and free, women, men, and children too. Your lives have meaning, you belong. We hear your voices call. All lives matter in this sacred space. Every soul within our human race. True seekers, justice unite. We are family, we'll make this right. We will stand up and join the fight. Fight on! They matter, every single soul. They matter, we won't let go. Stand together, search as one, until every case is done. They matter, and love will light the way. Red dresses dancing in the light, reminding us to never give up the fight. We all matter, we all matter, we all matter. One human family, standing together. fight. We all matter. We all matter. We all matter. One human family.